Hi everyone, it's time for our Guess Who Assembly again. I'm Teresa, and every week I've been asking a different member of the Cribs team to come into our studio here to talk to us about somebody that they find really inspiring. I wonder if any of you have managed to guess who the inspiring person is before they told us. Scruffy and I haven't done very well, have we? So shall we get him back on to see if he can help today? Hi Scruff, how are you? Have you enjoyed all of the interviews so far? Do you think that we're going to be able to guess who it's going to be today? We'll do our best, won't we? So shall we get today's guest on? Hi Abigail, it's lovely to see you. Thank you for coming into our studio.
Hello. Yeah.
Thank you for talking to us. Now before you tell us who you're going to talk about, would you be able to give us and everybody watching here a clue as to who it might be?
Okay, yeah, I can give you a clue.
Ready, Scruff?
So this person was born in 1892 in the Netherlands.
Scruffy, do you know anybody from the Netherlands? I don't even know if I've met anybody from the Netherlands. I don't think we'll be able to guess that one. Okay, another clue?
Okay, well, this person, they wrote 3 books about their life, and one of them was made into a film.
Well, Scruffy and I, we love reading and we love watching films, but can you think of anybody? No? Third clue? Okay. Not doing very well again, are we?
That's all right. Okay, so third clue, she helped a lot of people during World War II.
Oh, Scruffy's got an idea. Queen Elizabeth II?
Well, you are right, Scruffy. She did help people during World War II, but she wasn't born in the Netherlands, and she's not quite that old. She wasn't born in 1892 either.
We got our maths in a muddle a bit.
Little bit, yeah. So no, it's not Queen Elizabeth.
Have to work a bit harder on our adding up, I think, Scruff. So, okay. So can you tell me then who is the person, because we haven't been able to guess.
Okay, so her name is Corrie ten Boom.
It's an unusual name.
It is, yeah. It's a Dutch name. It's because obviously she's from the Netherlands. She's Dutch, yeah. So she has a Dutch name, Corrie ten Boom.
So, okay, so tell me about Corrie's life. What was her life like before the war? Because you said she helped a lot of people. So.
Yes, yeah. So before the war, Corrie lived in Haarlem in the Netherlands, and her grandfather was a watchmaker, and her father was a watchmaker. And Corrie, when she grew up, she trained to be a watchmaker as well. In fact, she was the first female watchmaker in the Netherlands.
She must have been quite brainy.
Yeah, and then so she had a brother and 2 sisters. One of her sisters left home and one of her brothers left home. And Corrie took over the running of her dad's business. When he got older and he retired, she took over the running of his business, and she helped people to mend watches. And
was it quite unusual for women to take over businesses in those days?
Yes, absolutely. So I think Corrie thought that she would probably get married like her other sister did, but it didn't happen for her. And so she stayed at home and she looked after the business because she was more than capable of doing that.
Okay. So how did her life change then when the war started and during the war? What happened?
Well, across Europe, the war changed people's lives so much. And I think if you talk to grandparents or great-grandparents, if you still have them, they'll be able to tell you how their lives changed during the war.
Yeah, my mum was alive during the war and her life changed a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. But for people in the Netherlands, it changed possibly even more than for people in this country because they were invaded by Germany.
Okay.
And Germany actually took over their country. And so it's called being occupied. So the Germans were in charge, and so life changed a lot for people in the Netherlands.
That must have been hard.
Yeah, it really was. So the Germans as well, they hated a certain group of people. They hated Jewish people, and they blamed them for everything that went wrong. And they hurt Jewish people, and they even started to kill Jewish people as well, just because they were Jewish. It was a terrible time for Europe. And this was happening in the Netherlands when Corrie was alive. But Corrie and her family, they weren't Jewish, they were Christians. So you might think it didn't really affect them.
Yeah.
But actually, you know, Corrie's family, even before the war, they would always help anyone that was in need.
Okay.
So if someone needed a meal, they would give them a meal. If they needed somewhere to stay, they would have somewhere to stay at Corrie's house. And during the war, a Dutch Jewish family actually came to them and asked them for help. They needed somewhere to hide. And so Corrie, because they knew that it was what Jesus would have wanted them to do, they chose to help this Jewish family, and they hid them in their house.
I mean, it's amazing, like you said, they knew who to go to for help, even as the trouble started, because they'd already been so kind to everyone.
Yes, so they knew that they could go to this family for help. And actually, Corrie, and that was the start of Corrie and her sister and her dad being involved in something called the Resistance, which was like a secret organisation that was helping to help Jewish people get out of the Netherlands and get to safety.
Was it dangerous?
It was very dangerous, yes, because if they'd been caught, they would have been treated the same as the Jewish people. They would have been arrested, sent to prison, maybe even killed as well. So it was very dangerous.
They'd have to be so brave.
Yeah, and I think Corrie knew as well it was the right thing to do, and it was what Jesus would have wanted her to do. And so they had a secret room built in their house. They had a false wall put up, and they had this very small space where if soldiers came into the house, any Jewish people that were in the house could go and hide in this space.
It must be so hard to keep something like that a secret.
Yes, absolutely. So there was a lot of Dutch people at that time that didn't support what the Germans were doing at all. So I think everyone helped to keep it a secret. Everyone helped to keep it a secret, but they in the end, unfortunately, they were caught.
So she did get caught.
She did, yeah. She did get caught in the end, yeah.
Oh, can you tell us what happened to her when she was caught?
Yeah, so I think before she was caught, they think that her and her family helped about 800 Jewish families get to safety. Yeah, so 800 families that may not have been here at all if it wasn't for Corrie that got to safety. So she did amazing work. But she was caught and they were arrested. Now, when they were caught, there was actually some Jewish people hiding in the secret place in their house when the soldiers came. And the soldiers did arrest Corrie and Betsy and their father, and they took them away. But they didn't find the Jewish people.
Oh, that's amazing.
And those people did actually get to safety.
Thank
and you know, every time Corrie hid any Jewish people in her house, she would always pray that God would keep them safe.
So she prayed and none of the Jewish people were... That's incredible,
So no Jewish people ever got caught when they were hiding with Corrie. And she believed that was an answer to her prayers. Yeah, but they were caught and they were arrested and they were taken to a concentration camp.
Oh, could you tell us, what was life like in the concentration camp?
So a concentration camp is like a prison. You can't leave, but the guards are soldiers. You're treated very badly. Sometimes people got hurt. There was lots of disease. It was very crowded. It was a really terrible place to be.
Did they have food? Enough food?
No, they didn't really have any good food. No,
Scruffy loves fresh.
Yeah.
Every day Scruffy wants fresh fish to eat, don't you, Scruffy?
Fresh fish, yeah. There'd be no fresh fish.
Oh.
No, it would just be like a very thin porridge. A lot of people got very thin, very hungry. People died because they didn't have enough to eat and because they were ill.
Oh,
yeah.
sorry, Abigail. Scruffy, are you okay? You look a bit itchy. What's wrong? Oh no! Oh, Scruffy's got fleas again. We get this quite a bit. We'll take you to the vet in a minute, Scruffy, afterwards, and you can settle down a bit.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, that reminds me. There's a story about fleas actually in the concentration camps, because obviously in today's world, humans don't get fleas, but the concentration camps, they were dirty and people were poorly, and so sometimes people got fleas in the concentration camps.
Don't we, Scruff?
So, and in the place where Betsy and Corrie were staying, everybody had fleas, and they were itchy and they were bitey, and it was horrible, and you felt dirty and it was horrible.
Yuck.
But you know what? Betsy said to Corrie, I think that we should thank God for the fleas.
Could you do that, Scruff? I don't think we could do that.
No, well, Corrie said, I'm not thanking God for the fleas.
No.
But Betsy insisted. And so they prayed and they thanked God for the fleas.
Wow.
Now, Betsy and Corrie, they carried on helping people even in the concentration camps. They were praying for people. They were reading the Bible to people. They were singing worship songs. But this could get you in a lot of trouble in the concentration camps. If you were caught, you could have been beaten, or you could have even been killed. But they were never caught when they were doing this. And the reason they weren't caught was because no guards ever came in to the place they were staying, the hut that they were staying in. And they couldn't work out why these guards never came near them. And then they realised it was the fleas. Yeah, it was the fleas. That was keeping the guards away.
So God turned something bad into something good.
Yes, and I think and Corrie really learnt that lesson, that, you know, God can take the worst thing and actually turn it into a good thing. And we can thank God even for bad things that seem bad to us, because we know that he'll bring good out of it.
I must remember that, because it's easy to get really sad when bad things happen. But God can even turn bad into good.
Yeah.
And, I mean, is there one thing about Corrie's story that you really stands out to you? Yeah,
well, for me, I think she was so brave. She was so courageous. But she didn't get all of that bravery all at once. Yeah. So, you know, if you'd have told her when she was a young girl that she was going to have to do all these things, she probably would have said, no, I'll never be able to do that. But she just did one brave thing after another, and she just kept choosing to do the thing that she knew was right and that she knew God wanted her to do. And through that, she achieved amazing things.
Abigail, what a story. I mean, what an incredible person. She's amazing, isn't she, Scruffy? Thank you so much. So thinking about what Abigail's been talking to us about, as she said, Corrie didn't know that she would have to be brave. But when something happened, she found that because she could trust God, God gave her the strength to be brave and do the right thing. And her family managed to stand up for people, even though it meant that things might get a little bit more harder for them. And maybe you find it hard when you're in the playground, and if you see somebody who's not being treated very well, it's easy to just turn away and not get involved. But sometimes it's good to stand up for other people peacefully. Corrie never did anything nasty. She did it peacefully, didn't she? And you can do the same thing. You can stand up for somebody peacefully and not walk away. And Corrie found that she could be brave because she trusted God. So let's ask God to help us to be brave now. I'm going to pray. You can join in if you want to, or you can just listen. Dear God, thank you so much for Abigail telling us about Corrie and Betsy today and how brave they were. Please help us when we need to be brave and we need to do the right thing and not walk away. And help us to look after people just as much as we look after ourselves. Amen.